Bryan Colter here, Evolutionary Astrologer, for your horoscope report for the upcoming Virgo new moon that happens on September 6th, but really we'll be covering the energy of the first couple weeks of this month. And I really love this new moon. It's very supportive. And that's because there's a lot of trines going on. Trines are a beautiful 120-degree angle. It's a very supportive aspect. A lot of the outer, slower-moving planets are in beautiful trines with the inner, faster-moving planets, like Mercury, Mars, Venus, the Sun, and the Moon, all forming these trines with the outer planets. So it is very beautiful and eloquent in a lot of ways. But to enter into the spirit of this event, I'm going to use a little image here. So we'll go through a visualization exercise to bring us into the energy here. And I want you to visualize a sea captain deep in the tumultuous waters of the mid-Atlantic. And it's choppy, and anybody who had a weaker stomach would be losing their lunch like immediately. And he's just standing there stoic. And here he is with a big fluffy white beard, puffing away on his pipe. And of course, then the fluffy white beard is a little discolored around the mouth because of the tobacco stains. And he's staring off into the distance at the horizon line. And his own face looks like worn leather. It looks wizened, which derives from the word wizard, when we start to get credibility lines on our face. And each one of those lines on his face tells us a story. He's seen loss. He's seen tragedy. He doesn't look depressed. He looks wise and tempered by life. And there he is in this very stoic pose, looking off into the distance, gazing at a thick black bar of storm clouds across the horizon line. And he's watching countless lightning bolts hit the surface of the water out into the distance. And you can see the reflection, the flashes of light of the bolts in his very whitish blue eyes. And half of this sea captain is completely lost in awe of the splendor and horrific beauty of nature he sees before him. And the other half of the sea captain is getting ready, mentally, for what he knows to be the unavoidable. He knows his crew has to go through the storm. And then he gives out the command to his crew. He says, "Batten down the hatches." And his crew immediately jumps into action and deftly works to fasten the battens across the hatches to cover them with canvas. And then, of course, they go on to do all these other preparatory things, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. And this sea captain has been here many times before. He knows how dangerous it is. He knows how this storm is going to bring him and his crew to their knees, bring them right up to the edges of what is possible for them, physically, mentally, emotionally. And he's not depressed. He's not scared. He lives for this, not for danger, but, he lives as a seaboat captain. He's accepted his role. And he's seen it many times before. And this is where we see the seaboat captain at his absolute best as he rises to the challenge, him and his crew. This is a period of preparation. Yes, it's the calm before the storm, which gives us a certain spaciousness of time so that we can prepare. This image teaches us so much about September, the calm before the storm. And it is a period of preparation. Because during this new moon, we have 5 of the 10 planets all in Earth signs. So really trying to play with, work with, embody the higher octave, more virtuous expressions of Earth energy and be aware of the shadow side is going to be a useful meditation for most of us. I don't want to say all of us, but the energy is going to affect some people more than others. It depends on where this geometry is landing in our own personal charts. Good earthy words are duty, responsibility, discipline, focus, practicality, solidarity, preparation, keeping the eye on the prize, diligence. Now, these words are beautiful words. and we need some of these qualities of the wiser parts of earth energy in us, or else we'll be groundless and just be whipped around by life. And earth energy often gets represented in a dry, boring kind of way. I mean, responsibility, duty, practicality, and people like myself, Sagittarius, who is severely lacking in earth energy, sometimes will cast, mental judgments about somebody who's working with too much of that energy. But that's just an egoic response to what we know in our heart of heart is a deficit within us. Us fellow, people who have a lot of fire signs in their chart or a lot of air. It's not really our greatest strength. Okay, so we need some of that energy. We need that grounding rod in our life. And the captain is the grounding rod of the ship. He's the anchor, keeps the ship steady. So we're trying to cultivate some more of this earth energy and batten down the hatches. But why? That's a key question. What is this storm that's coming? Well, in the first half of September, pretty calm, astrologically speaking. About halfway through September, the storm gets a little closer for reasons I'll discover in the next video. Okay? And then October, we get a lot closer to the storm. We start feeling the rain really hit our faces. And then November, we're at the front of the storm, entering it. And then December, we're right in the middle of the storm. Lightning bolts all around us. Why is that? Because we have this ongoing Saturn-Uranus square, one of the major features of this year and even into next year. And they, this year, are forming 3 exact square angles to each other. And in December, we're having that 3rd exact square. The energy is crescendoing. This event is trying to wrap up. It's reaching its apex. Okay? And we'll be in the lightning storm. And Uranus itself is known as the god of lightning bolts. It's going to be colorful. It's going to be dramatic. I don't exactly know how it's going to manifest, but I know it's going to be stormy. So now we're in this period of preparation, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. Now, in the fall season, the grizzly bears up in Alaska, what do? Well, they stuff themselves, just salmon after salmon after salmon, and drink. They're preparing for hibernation. Now, I'm not saying we should all stuff ourselves silly, Earth energy, one thing that's going to be really good to focus on right now is things that are physical, because Earth deals with physicality. And of course, that includes physical health. Physical fitness, as well as diet, could be included in there too. So if you're stuffing yourself silly, that has a negative impact on your physical health. But stuffing your pantry, for example, I don't want to get a million miles with from any sort of alarmism or doom and gloom sort of stuff. I don't think it's going to be hellfire and brimstone. It will be stormy, but it's not going to be awful. So, when I say preparation, we don't want to, devolve into the more judgmental perspective of the prepper. I'm not saying we need to dig a big hole in the ground and stuff it full of cans of food and ammunition, This is not the zombie apocalypse we're headed into. But if we're wise and mindful, coming from a place of reason and intelligence, preparing for what's to come is a very practical, realistic, earthy, grounded thing to do, as long as it's not coming from fear consciousness. Fear consciousness is a lower octave expression. On the scale of consciousness, fear calibrates at about 100 from 0 to 1,000. And of course, when we're in a fearful state, a fight or flight state, we give away our power. It's a weak response. And we're more easily manipulated by external forces when we're in fear consciousness. And fear consciousness is something that this is definitely a part of life, but of course, definitely during this new moon. And that's because there's so much Virgo energy going around in the Virgo season, Virgo new moon. Virgo is a beautiful sign. I have my moon in Virgo. I know a lot about it. But it is the perfectionist energy. You should see me doing my video editing. It's a nightmare, because Virgo compares the actual with the ideal always. And here we are in a very imperfect world, especially recently. Okay? So Virgo energy is susceptible to worry and concern and fear consciousness in an imperfect world. So allow me to recommend the higher octave, more virtuous expression of Earth energy, which is reason, wisdom. This is not the first storm we've seen, like the sea captain. I've been here before. In the course of many, many lifetimes, we've come here to planet Earth, which is a rough school to take part in, and we've seen hardship, we've seen suffering. This is not our first rodeo. So coming from that place of wisdom and not fear consciousness, because if we're coming from fear consciousness, we can get to this place of bracing for impact. Oh no, when's it going to end? Bracing. And if we brace for impact, that implies attention. So we want to keep attention on the goals and goal setting, but not tension. Attention, but not tension. This makes me think of personal story, actually. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. I think I've told this story before on one of my videos, so if you've heard this, sorry, but many of you haven't, I'm sure. So I was driving, actually my dad was driving, I was the passenger, in his tiny little tin can of a Miata, and here I am, I'm pretty big, I'm like 6'2", so, my top of my head's touching the top of the canvas of the car there, the convertible. And he's doing what he normally did, which drive a little too fast, maybe 70 or 80 miles per hour, And this very dangerous part of the freeway where there's an on-ramp, also an off-ramp right after that. So people are kind of trying to get in and also off at the same time. And there's this guy in the sports car, I think it was a white Mustang, who was almost next to us, but a little bit behind. So both of us could see the Mustang in our peripheral, on the far edges of our peripheral vision. And like sports cars drivers often do, he darted in a little bit too quick, and then he saw us, and since he had fast reflexes, he corrected. But my dad, seeing in his peripheral, he got scared, and he over-adjusted and a little bit too late, and he made a glorious error, and here we are literally spinning 360s, going 70 miles an hour down this freeway. And no cars hit us. I swear to God, there was an angel looking out for both of us. But our car careened off the road towards the middle concrete wall. And of course, my side was the one going towards the wall. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It's like almost like time slowed. We hear that a lot, in situations like this. The time-space continuum started to change. And I remember just looking at this wall coming right at me, and me just getting to this place of acceptance, and totally relaxing every muscle in my body and just letting the chips fall where they may. And we slammed against the wall, and my head hit the metal frame that was at the top of the window, the hinge that helped the convertible top come up. So my head whacked against the metal, and it left a big gash in my head, and I was bleeding everywhere. It looked more horrific than it was. I didn't have a concussion or anything, and my dad was unscathed, other than just being a little emotionally rattled like myself. And the car was completely totaled, yet we came out okay. Now, had I braced for impact, tensed up everybody, here it comes, I don't know this for sure, but I probably would have hurt myself a lot worse. Maybe got whiplash or who knows, broken bones. I mean, you hear this as advice. If you're about to get in an accident, you hear this in a lot of different places. Don't tense up, just flop around, And luckily in that moment, I was able to flop around. And it's just kind of out of character, because when I'm on a roller coaster, I'm about to do that first dip at the top of the roller coaster. I'm holding on, I'm super tense. But in this moment, I was, thankfully I did okay, and I came out unscathed, other than the gash in my head, okay? So this is a useful advice or image to how to work with this energy. We're not, the goal is to not come from fear consciousness, worry and concern about what's to come. That's the danger of predictive astrology, especially if you have this foreboding story of the storms coming, I do like to bring us into the energy of the symbolism through dramatic storytelling. I want to be careful of grandstanding drama, okay? But it does help us to bring us into the spirit of it. So we work with earth energy, first couple weeks of this month. How do you do that? Anything you can do to prepare. Prepare for what? We don't exactly know, But do earthy things. Get your hands in the garden. Grow some vegetables. Work on the house. Anything to do with physicality, physical things. It could be your literal work. That's a very earthy thing. But also with the body, so health, nutrition, exercise, good food, enough rest. All these earthy animal actions are really important now. And also, focusing a little bit more on Virgo, obviously, because this is a Virgo new moon. I just use that word work. And Virgo has a very strong connection to the idea of work, but it has a particular slant on it because it's known as the servant archetype or craftsperson. Now, a craftsperson is really good at something. They polish a God-given skill. They put in their 10,000 hours to mastery. They become the craftsperson. And then they provide that service to other people, and other people benefit. So it's about meaningful work. Virgo is the higher octave expression of it. And really tapping into the humility of that service, following the virtue of service. There's an old Egyptian prayer I've shared many times on this video, but it's the lifeblood of Virgo. It's God grant that today I do work that matters. So it could be deepening a relationship to your own mission-centric life. The uniqueness that is you, the unique expression of the gifts that you bring into this world. How can you cultivate a more polished approach to what it is you provide? Okay. Another thing that's about earth energy is skill building. Time to polish some skills. Maybe learn some new skills. That's actually a good segue to, always when you're talking about a lunation event, you want to consider the planet that rules the sign, the moon sign, and the planet that rules Virgo is Mercury. And Mercury is very strongly placed right now because it's in an air sign of Libra. And Mercury is of the mind, of our intelligence, of communication, of learning, of thoughts, of perception. It's very much of the head, of the mind. And all air signs, which Libra is on the mental plane. So Mercury loves being in air signs. And it's in that beautiful, again, 120-degree trine to Saturn, okay, which is in another air sign of Aquarius. Saturn rules Aquarius. Saturn's been very strong all year because it's been in its own sign. And Saturn also rules another sign, Capricorn, the earth sign that's activated right now. And Mercury is about learning. So learning some new practical curriculum to help you prepare for what's coming. So learn how to garden. Learn how to change the oil in your car. Learn how to change the toilet or whatever. Obviously, these aren't very inspiring things, but these are all very practical things, Learn a new evolutionary astrology technique, Now, in terms of the list of practicality, astrology probably wouldn't be at the very top of my list, okay? It doesn't really qualify as battening down the hatches, okay? But I couldn't resist the shameless plug. Mercury is also in another trine to the north node of the moon, which is in Gemini, the other sign Mercury rules. It's very thematic here. A lot of earth energy, also a lot of air energy. And yes, it's about learning, but as I said, it's of the mind, really at the core understanding of both Gemini and Mercury, which are in trine to each other right now. The core of these symbols is perception, how we perceive reality. And everybody perceives reality in a different way. Reality is what we make it. I say reality in air quotes, because really we're living very much in an illusion. And with the nodes of the moon being another major feature of this year, I haven't said anything about this in this video, but humanity, basically, everybody to certain degrees, is invited to work with the higher octave expression of Gemini and North Node and be very aware of the shadow side dynamics of the Sagittarian South Node, which is basically strong belief systems. Everybody's armed with a strong belief, their version of what reality is. So on average, humans are a little bit more certain about what is right, and of course what is wrong. And who is wrong, it's a war of religions right now, basically. So it's very helpful for folks to embody the more beautiful expression of Gemini, which is trying to become more clear in terms of what reality actually is, perceiving reality more clearly, and resigning to the fact that although it's fun to think about, and of course we have to give the world some sort of model, but also with the idea of I don't really know. I'm open to being stretched. I'm open to explore. Oh, wow is the mantra for Gemini. Okay? Whatever reality is, it's not quite that. That's healthy Gemini energy. And the reality we're experiencing is strange, surreal. I've commonly thought recently, it's like, what timeline are we on and how did we get on this timeline? This is bonkers. I feel like I'm watching a black comedy in the theater of life. Wild, some Alfred Hitchcock movie that we're trapped in, it's pretty wild. But just resigning to everything happens for a reason, everything is perfect exactly the way it is. Actually, that statement, things are perfect the way they are, it calibrates very high on the scale of consciousness from 0 to 1,000 at 800. So that's a beautiful spiritual wisdom to really focus in on right now. It'll be the guiding light. It'll carry us through. And it is very wise. What is that reason? Well, that's a complex thing, but through the Saturn-Uranus square, we're going through growing pains. It's especially with Pluto finishing up Capricorn over the next few years. Basically it's the dissolving, the deconstruction of the old habitual archaic habits of the past, which are currently in their death throes, trying to control. And that's the theme of Saturn-Uranus, plainly, is one of them anyways, which is restriction versus freedom. They're in square to each other. They're rubbing each other raw. Okay. Meanwhile, we're drunk on religion. So it's pretty wild. And it's going to get a lot more dramatic over the next few months. I know that's bad news, but I revert to 800 level consciousness statement. It's perfect the way it is. We need to go through these death throes, through these growing pains. Why? So we can grow. So we can fully embrace the Aquarian age in a more evolved way. The future is just a set of probabilities. And the future that collective consciousness creates depends on where we're at now. And the more you work with the symbols proactively in an evolved way, the more you put your personal growth and evolution into hyperdrive. And the more you do your own small part within the collective to raise your consciousness, keep it high, keep to this level of reason and practicality, and just plod along one foot in front of the other. Yeah, it sucks, but let's hope for the best. Let's be optimistic and not resign to the more shadowy elements of Earth energy, which culminates as this stoic acceptance to the crappy hand we're dealt, and we brace for one damn thing after another. There's that tension bracing response, which is not a good idea now. And just stay in reason, stay in intellect, do your preparation, protect yourself and those you love, and hope for the best. And this is how you keep your consciousness high to where it's more likely that the best outcome will occur. And these are the core evolutionary intentions, with the goal being to expand our consciousness. Now, as usual, I'm going to transition into the meditation. I recommend using headphones for this meditation, because I use binaural beats technology. And this is designed to really focus on grounding, on earthiness, on the body. I hope you enjoy. Make sure you're in a nice, comfortable position with a straight spine. And begin by focusing on the tip of your nose. That brings attention to your breath. And feel the breath as it comes in through your nose and follow it all the way down to your belly. And focus on the center of your belly, right behind the belly button. And with each inhale, feel your belly expand. And as you inhale, see the belly grow with a beautiful white light kindling within you. And with each inhale, you see that white light grow brighter and brighter, filling up your entire belly. And as you exhale, the air goes out, but the energy stays in. And just see that white light in your stomach as a radiating star, flickering within you as bright as you can visualize it. Now begin to see this white light start to descend down to your pelvic floor and into your left leg, the thigh of your left leg. And again, with each inhale, see this bright light grow whiter, snow white color. And now see it go down to your left knee. Left ankle. Left foot. And now into your left toes. Now see this white light transfer from your left foot into your right foot, into the right toes of your right foot. And now see it shine brightly in your entire foot. With each inhale, you see that white light grow brighter and brighter. And with each exhale, the air goes out, but the energy stays in. And see that white light raise up into the ankle now. Up through the calf muscle. In your right knee. Deep, comfortable, rhythmic breathing. Now up into the right thigh. The right hip. And see this white light spread through your hips and back down through both legs. And see both of your legs radiating the snow white color in all directions. And feel the groundedness of your legs. Now Now see this white color begin to concentrate in your pelvic floor, your root chakra area. And see your root chakra become infused with this white light. And feel it open like a flower. With each inhale, you see this white light grow as brightly as you can, shining up through your body almost like a spotlight from the ground pointed at the clouds. And as you exhale, maintain the brightness. And hold this visualization for a few more breaths. Now follow your awareness through your root chakra down into the ground below you, and see your consciousness going down into the earth. See it traveling through the earth, passing by all the dirt, the rocks, the roots. And you go down, 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 deeper into the earth. All the way to the center of Earth's core. And visualize a massive crystal or diamond or something like this at the center of the earth, pulsing with earth energy. And feel your consciousness wrap around this crystal and connect with it. Feel the nurturing quality of yin energy, earth energy. And feel the earth energy come from this crystal, following you back up, connecting to your root chakra. And visualize this white energy of earth flooding up through the ground into you. Earth energy bubbling up into and through your astral body. And you're seeing your pelvic floor completely flooded with white light. And continue this visualization for a few more breaths. And see this white color fill up your entire abdomen and solar plexus area. And see it condense in the center of your abdomen behind your belly button. And change the visualization to a sky blue sun in the center of your stomach. Feel the luminosity, the warmth, the glow of this sky blue sun. With each inhale, you see this sun shining blue energy in every direction. And you see this blue, sky blue color flooding throughout your entire body. See it glow brighter and brighter with each inhale. And hold this visualization for another minute. This is the main energy center of the physical body, your energy furnace. The Chinese Taoists call it the lower Dantian. And it's very important to focus on the center every day to help maintain the health of your physical body. Now you see your entire body flooded with this sky blue color. Now see it change back to snow white. And see this snow white color extend around your body a couple feet and form an egg-shaped shell around your entire body. A luminous, sparkling shell extended around you, protecting you and your astral body. With each inhale, you see the shell grow brighter, and with each exhale, the air goes out, but the energy stays in. And hold this visualization as we begin to end the meditation.